Reach Over Culture podcast, episode 19. We here, we live and direct. We on Instagram Live. Shout out to the people at home watching. Shout out to my guy Rob. Episode 19 is now underway. Here today. And if you're popping up, shoot us a comment. Let us know you on. Let us know where you're at with it. So today we got a lot to talk about, a lot going on in the culture today. Just want to take a moment to introduce my guy, special guest host, really fam on the show.
Always.
The MC. How you feeling, man?
I feel good, bro. A lot of good things going on. Finally getting over some down days, but we getting there.
Some down days, yep. Make for good music, though.
You do.
When are we getting that good music, man?
It's coming, man. Yeah, we got more coming.
All right. Cool. All right, so episode 19, I just want to take a moment, shout out to everybody that's watching. Shout out to all of our new followers. If you're listening on Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, I want to give you a big round of applause. Maybe y'all can hear it, maybe y'all can't. And if this is your first time listening and you haven't hit the subscribe yet button, I got gunshots for you. Man, I'm good. I'm alive. I'm breathing, man. We doing our thing. Big things going on in the culture today, MC. This week, man, this past week we lost a legend, an icon.
Angel. That
wasn't necessarily respected until he was gone, unfortunately. Didn't get the full respect. I say he was dope. We lost a young king, 33-year-old Nipsey Hussle. Rapper out of Crenshaw and Slauson to be exact. Gunned down in front of his store, the Marathon, in his own neighborhood where he grew up in. Sunday. Right, when we hear you got shot, like 3-something? Three something?
Sunday, yeah.
And then 5 minutes later you hit me, it was like he was gone? Sheesh, man. What was your first emotions just hearing the news? Before we get into all the politics of it, what was your first emotions hearing the news?
Man, I was actually having a really good day. I was having a really good day. We went to church, that was going well. And me and Shorty went to go, get something to eat. And when we left the restaurant, it was just such a nice day outside. We was like, let's go take a walk. And we was walking for an hour and a half. I get back in the car and I heard Duke lost. And I was like...
I was happy about that.
So I was like, I need to get on Twitter and see what Twitter's saying about Duke losing. Yeah. And then I get on Twitter and I just see Nipsey post after Nipsey post. And I guess it had just broke a few minutes before. Yeah. And I was like, yo, this can't be real. I thought it was fake news when I first heard it. It just seemed so unbelievable. Yeah. And then I saw some credible sources and I was heartbroken. But I was like, I don't know. I don't want to put too much negative energy in the air. But when I saw the video and I saw that it was true, Nipsey got shot, you just kind of felt like this is bad.
Yeah.
And I was trying to stay optimistic and prayed up for my dog, but it just didn't feel good. And when I found out that he passed, I cried, bro. I cried for an hour straight. Yeah. And it really broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy because you've heard of so many rappers getting shot. I feel like within the past couple years, where it's but none of them really passed. You know what I mean? Dolph got shot a few years ago. I mean, he's still here. Right. You just hear about a lot of rappers getting shot, and so when he initially said, when Rob was initially, Nipsey got shot, I was automatically oh, he'll live. He gonna be all right. Rappers don't get killed these days. He gonna be all right. Rappers are bulletproof these days. And 2 minutes later, when he was like, man, he got shot 5 times. I was like, oh, that might be bad. And then I don't know what, just a wave of a certain wave of anxiety came over me, and then that's when Rob turned around and was like, he passed. And I'm not gonna cap I'm the biggest Nipsey Hussle fan. I respect his music. I respect his craft. I respect what he does. I've always listened to every album. Have they been on replay? No. But one thing I did follow more than his music was his philanthropy and his work that he was putting in the community. Like all the World Star videos, everything that he would do, servicing Crenshaw and Slauson, I was following up on that because we don't have a lot of examples of that in the hip-hop community.
Right.
And so when I heard that, I was like, bro, this isn't just an L for, like, the hip-hop community and the rap industry. This is an L for, like, black culture as a whole.
Right.
Because here you have a guy that was talking, like, walking what he was preaching, coming from a family of an immigrant father who's been fighting for civil rights for his specific people, who's already built in Nipsey to do the same.
Right.
And you don't really see a lot of people come from his type of background and make the waves that he was able to make in a positive. And I mean, yeah, he slapped somebody at the BET Awards. I mean, gangsters. Sometimes
it'd be like that sometimes.
You know, you're going to get slapped sometimes. I mean, you do rough stuff, you're going to get slapped. Like, right. You know, but he had a silk shirt on, too. That's one of the most gangster things I've ever seen. Rose in some flip-flops and a silk shirt and smack somebody.
As player as it gets.
So, you know, not to glorify anything necessarily, but he was a good dude. And to see, like, the wave of people amongst the black community. And even when you look at the news, when you watch their local news and see, like, the police, the LAPD, and different officials in LA have to, like, utter the words, he passed. You like, all right, this dude's real. This is a real dude, and he stood by what he said. You don't have this many people come out and mourn. Like, people are mourning like Pac died.
Yeah.
Like
that's how it felt, though. Like, yeah. I mean, I was too young to feel it.
Yeah.
But, like, when it happened, I imagine that's how people felt when Pac died. Like, he may have not have had the reach that Pac had when he was in his prime doing his thing, but the impact to the people that he had, man, I feel like was just as deep.
Yeah, it was Pac-like.
Yeah, it was very Pac-like. So, yeah, it felt like that.
It was Pac-like, and it was amazing because you listen to the music. You know, Pac. A lot of people say Pac was one way after Death Row was another way. Nipsey stayed consistent through his entire rap career about one specific thing, and that's building a community and putting back into the community while not shying away from the harsh realities of living in the neighborhood that he was living in. Let's not get caught up in, because I've seen comments where it's like, well, and I had people around me, like when they initially heard it, like I had people the next day like, yeah, you know, he's a gang member, it happens. And it's like when you think Nipsey Hussle, honestly, looking back, the last thing you think a lot of people thought was neighborhood. It's like, you know, he Crip, but neighborhood wasn't the first thing you thought. You thought, nah, he got the marathon. Like, he's an inspirer, he's a motivator.
Right.
And so, sad day for Nipsey. I really feel for Lauren London. I really feel for his kids to be taken out in the fashion that he was taken out. Let's get into the details of it. Do you feel like it was a government conspiracy? Knowing the details that we know now.
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't, because there's a part of me that feels like it could have been, but then there's another part of me knowing how, I don't know, just knowing how the cities move, you know what I'm saying, how people move within, you know what I'm saying, communities, when somebody in their community is doing well. I can see it just being a random person in the community that really didn't like to see him doing well. So I really don't know if it was a government conspiracy or not. I don't like to put that kind of negative energy out there if I don't feel certain about it. Right. But it wouldn't surprise me if I found out it was a government conspiracy.
Yeah, all right, so to clarify the situation and what happened, apparently he was at his store chilling, hanging out, and he was actually there to meet with a friend of his that had just gotten out of jail to set him up with a job situation. A rapper and apparently a fellow 60s member named Eric Holder came up to the shopping center. Some say he was there, you know, to get something to eat or whatever, to shop at the store. But whatever case, the consistent point, the consistent plot in the whole story is he came up there. Nipsey told him he couldn't be around the shopping center because he's allegedly known as a snitch and an informant for those who don't get the lingo, a rat. And Nipsey told him to go on about your business, so he let him get his food or whatever, and he ran off, went and got strapped. And that's when he got a gun for my culturally challenged people. He went and got a gun, right? And came back and automatically started shooting. He shot Nip. He shot 2 other guys. Now, was this a government conspiracy? I didn't believe it was a government conspiracy from the first time that I heard it. And that was one of the first things that flew around the internet. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe it was a government conspiracy for 2 things. I knew he was doing the Dr. Sebi. Is that how you say it? Dr. Sebi? He's doing the Dr. Sebi documentary. If you don't know who Dr. Sebi is, he is the man who found, and we just call it what it is, he found a cure for AIDS. Mm-hmm. And was allegedly taken out by the government before he can actually get the information out to cure AIDS or whatever, so they wanted to keep it down. You know how it goes, the conspiracy runs deep. Mm-hmm. Keep AIDS in the black community, keep the black community paid for prescriptions and different things like that. Pretty much a way to take us out as black people. And no, if you're not black, I would still like you to listen to the rest of this podcast, but if you don't, it's all good too. Next episode will be for you. I mean, it's not, but it's whatever. But so Nipsey Hussle was planning a documentary on it. Apparently, he got some way through it, and people were saying that it was a government conspiracy. It was a planned hit on Nipsey Hussle to take him out of the game before he can complete that documentary. Now, it sounds great. Now, it sounds logical. It makes sense. I'm not saying that there's never been government conspiracy, a government plot against people of color as a whole, to keep us down and to keep us oppressed and to keep us in a certain cycle and a certain system. This is why I couldn't believe the government was necessarily behind it. And granted, like Matt said, like in the future, if somebody does a documentary and finds that it actually was set by the government, I will not be surprised. This is why I didn't feel initially that it was the government, because shortly after the shooting, probably hours later, tape footage from the store across from the shooting actually surfaced. Mm-hmm. And so when you see the dude, he's walking up the alley, and he literally gets up right up next to Nipsey and shoots him, clears out, actually runs, but runs back to shoot him in the head before kicking him in the head to flee from the scene. That don't sound government motivated to me. That sounds like a hater.
Yeah, I feel like if the government's gonna kill somebody, they ain't gonna do it from. They're not gonna be that obvious with the assailant. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
That just don't make no sense. I mean, like they say the government killed JFK. Like, my man's was where? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, the government assassinated Martin Luther King. But he was where? Yeah. He sure enough wasn't 2 feet away from him.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely not going back to like pop him again and then kick him and then dip. Like,
brothers and sisters, that was personal. That was a personal beef, because and let me dispel some of the things that people use. All right. He shot him from close range, or he shot him 5 times and then shot him 1 time in the head. If I'm as close as I was to Nip, which is pretty much how he was, if I don't hit him 5 times and 1 time in the head and I'm right here, I shouldn't hold a gun. I shouldn't be shooting nothing. Literally, when you look at the camera, he's probably this far away, and he doesn't even give forewarning. That's the first thing. Second thing, he kicked him in the head. That's not government. That's a gripe. That is a conspiracy. He ran, saw that Nipsey was still alive, because if you look at the camera, they say, oh, well, he shot the other 2 dudes, but they didn't die. If you look at the footage, the other 2 dudes already look dead. So if I'm running and I got a beef and I look back and I see 2 dudes lying, but you can see Nipsey, his arms are still up in the air. He's still like trying to clutch himself and hold himself. He still saw that Nipsey was alive and went back and doubled back and shot him in the head, because he comes from an entirely different angle after he delivers the final kill shot. So that and I'm from New Orleans. He's from Houston, and even here in Tulsa, you can tell a personal gripe killing. Like, I've seen plenty of cases, not seen personally, but I've heard of plenty of cases where you got these guys that got beef with each other, and it becomes an overkill because it gets that personal. And like Matt said, I can't see the government hiring somebody that would be that sloppy of a kill to literally get captured 20 hours after the fact, and to have his name surface, an hour after the fact? Like we heard the name 2 hours after he got shot. Like, this is rumored that he was the trigger man. So, and then to hop in a white Chevy with a chick, like, that don't sound government operated.
None of it makes sense. They said that the government killed Tupac, right? And we could just use Tupac as an example. Nobody knows who killed Tupac. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think if the government was gonna hire somebody to kill somebody, they would at least do a good enough job as to make sure the person wasn't found, or to do a better job at making it seem more realistic in catching the person. Like, if somebody was going to take the fall for it, I mean, straight up, if I shot you in the middle of the street out here, I don't know if anybody go find me in 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they found bro in 2 hours.
I don't know. Not if the government sent me to shoot you.
Exactly.
Not if the government sent me to shoot you. If the government
sent me to kill somebody, I'm off the map. I already got the plane charted. I'm ready to go. And I've even had somebody say, well, the government paid them to kill him, but to take the fall. Okay. Well,
I don't see the benefit of that. It's just too deep. I don't like conspiracy theories, and I don't like talking about the ifs, ands, and buts of the government killing people. One, because it's something that it runs so deep that you can't even know unless you're in it. Like, you're so close to it. And then also so many people get so serious about it. Like, conspiracy theorists is almost like a religion now. Like, people take them so seriously, and if you disagree with them, it's almost like you saying something homophobic or something racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole different thing in and of itself. And I just kind of like to deal with the details of what happens in situations and, like, talk about it from a perspective without making a bunch of assumptions, because and I don't believe that all conspiracy theories aren't true. It's just so much to prove. It's like, I feel like the conspiracy theories at one point took away from the actual effect of what happened. Like, forget the documentary and the government and all of that. Like, a man's not going home to his wife and kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, a woman who spent her whole adult life, for the most part, attaching herself to this man's vision, now has to go to sleep without that man that she's falling asleep to most nights in her life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Kids never been able to see their father again. Like, and when you start to focus on all the conspiracy theories and all of the reasons why it may have happened and who did what, when that's not even our job in the first place, you kind of lose sight and lose focus, and it desensitizes us to the reality of the fact that that's a man. At the end of the day, he had a heartbeat like yours. He had blood running through his veins like yours, and he was breathing breath like you. You know what I'm saying? And I got very frustrated with all the conspiracy theories, because it was like, can we wait on that? Like, can we wait like a day at least before, like, we running the timeline up with, like, all these conspiracies? Like, can you just take some time to, like, remember the man and understand what's happening, like, with the person? You know what I'm saying? Like, forget all of that stuff. Like, a man lost his life, and people who were counting on him and his family, people who were counting on him in his business, people who were counting on him in his community, now feel lost, hopeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we worried about conspiracy theories. Honestly, I almost don't even care who did it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I more so care about the people that feel differently than they felt Saturday, Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? So I would agree, man. Like you said, you get so endowed into a conspiracy that you forget that, you know, somebody got killed, man. And it becomes more about what the government did and didn't do, and versus, we really lost somebody for the culture. Like, the culture lost a hero,
very important, and who was just getting started. He hadn't even reached his peak yet. Like he hadn't even gotten to it. Like it was Pac level, but to us, but he hadn't even hit the global scale really yet. And the moves that he was making, you could tell that he was on his way, man.
He was about to hit a 2 Chainz type of run musically. Like people, a lot of people know now because it's kind of cool to know. Like, you know what I'm saying, 2 Chainz had been around for a while. Yeah. But he had a second run like in his music that made him into the global icon he is now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I felt like Nip was about to hit that run in his music that was then going to help him do even more stuff socially and in the community. Like his music, like people, I'm not here to say that the man's music was good or bad. What I will say is that his music was just starting to become widely accepted. Like his message was starting to become widely accepted. And he was about to hit a run like 2 Chainz in 2012, 2013, where you couldn't even go nowhere without hearing him. Like I felt like that was the run musically that he was on. Like I felt like he was starting to find his sound, and that was going to be what was going to catapult him to that next level of artist to be able to go back and do all the extra stuff that he wanted to do and point that attention towards that. And it's sad, man, because like it's hard to have somebody, it's just hard to have somebody like that, like in hip hop. Like it's hard to do both. Like, it's hard to make quality music while you're being a quality person, so present and actively. And he was doing it, bro. And I feel like people don't really understand how difficult that is to balance. Like the last person I think we've seen in hip hop, there's 2 people in hip hop currently that are doing something similar with their rappers who are also socially in tune with what's going on. And that's Jay-Z and that's Chance, right? But neither one of them make music consistently. Like Chance made music, and then when he dropped Coloring Book, he got real social. And when he was doing all his social work, he stopped making music. Jay-Z drops a verse every 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Verses, though. You know what I'm saying? The verses be hard. He's dropping verses every 6 months. It's supposed to be fire. One verse, 6 months with no pen. Like, so talk about the time that he has to do all this other stuff. Nip was at a place in his career where he was making some of the best music of his career from widespread acclaim perspective, and also doing social works at a high, just as high, if not a higher level, on a widespread level. And that's something that we haven't seen very often in hip-hop.
Do you think that there's anybody that's on the same path or could possibly come behind him and have the same effect? Not off the top of the head?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, you can name people who can do it. Like, it's easy. I mean, just name any, conscious rapper who's also popular. So you can say Cole, you can say Kendrick. Like, those are like the 2 easy answers, but they haven't proven the ability to do it yet. Like, they're capable, but you could say like J.R. Smith is capable of dropping 50 on any given night, but until you know what I'm saying, but until he does it rather consistently, you can't say like just because you believe he can, because he's capable, he's a capable scorer, doesn't mean that you can just automatically say, "Yep, him. That's the next guy to do it." So I believe that if Kendrick put his mind to it, he can do anything he wants to do. So I believe if Kendrick put his mind to it, he could be that guy. If Cole put his mind to it, he could be that guy. One, I don't think it's necessarily their calling to do at that level. I think also that it's not necessarily their desire. Like Kendrick has said multiple times, like, I'm not an activist. You know what I'm saying? Like, so with Nipsey, he was more of an activist than somebody like Kendrick or somebody like Cole who do activist-like works. You know what I'm saying? But it's more behind the scenes, whereas that's a part of Nip's brand. So I don't think there's another rapper off the top of my head coming behind Nip. Like, Jay-Z's doing it, but he's not making music as actively. I can't think of another rapper off the top of my head who can, in concert with each other, make that level of philanthropy and social works a part of their brand while they're consistently making music at that high of a level. Not one that I've seen so far that I can just name off the top of my head now.
Yeah, I can't really name any off the top of my head either. It just seems like with a lot of rappers, they kind of just go with what the hot topic is for the moment.
Right.
Like me being a big Lil Wayne fan.
Mm-hmm.
During Katrina, he put out some of his best like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was heartfelt, but after that, it's back to the regular regular. I mean, he's still putting out fire, but I remember during that time it was like some of his hottest.
You felt
songs,
his soul,
bruh, some of his hottest songs, like in his hottest freestyles, Dedication 2, Drought 3, like most of those songs are dedicated to what was going on in New Orleans at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but a lot of people would go back and say that was some of his best work. Cole, Kendrick, whatever, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And these guys are doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're
Cole's
not doing it.
Cole's
but
doing
Nip was different because it was actually a part of his brand. Like, you couldn't separate the two. Like, the stuff that Cole does on record and the stuff that he does in the communities are separate. He talks about it in his music, but it's not a part of the J. Cole brand. Like, you probably couldn't tell me what J. Cole has done for the community in the last 2 months. You probably couldn't tell me. But you know he's doing a ton of work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't tell me what Kendrick is doing in the community off the top of your head right now. But he's doing a ton of stuff for the community. It's different. Like, Nip was different.
It's a part of his brand.
It's a part of the brand.
Black excellence, that the whole concept of owning your own.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could both agree that Nip was like the forerunner of that. Like, you got Jay, and Jay's always hinting in his music. And I mean, over the past few years, he's made that an essential part of his music.
Yeah.
But from like, I went back and listened to stuff from that Piff, and Nipsey was talking the same stuff.
Same talk, bro.
Even when you watch interviews, I'm talking about Nipsey with the Jerry curl, like in these blurry 320 HP videos, like he was talking resources and being black owned and diamonds and all that are cool. Like all these videos you're seeing surface on social media now, that's him 5, 6, 7, almost 10 years ago, pretty much. That's when I heard. I mean, I heard of him when we was graduating in 2010 because P would play him. And I was like, yo,
that's how I found about Nipsey. Paris put me on Nipsey.
So
Mac 11 on the Dresser was the first Nipsey verse I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
So I think it was like To Runaway.
Yeah.
Mac 11 on the Dresser drawer.
Bro had some fire freestyles. I wasn't even on. I was
you know what I'm saying?
I was like, yo, I'm not from neighborhood. But I ain't never seen so many neighborhood Crips in my life. Like everybody, I ain't even know Russ was from neighborhood. Shout out to you, Russ.
Squatted up.
I ain't know you was from neighborhood. That whole 2020, that was crazy.
That was one of the most G things I've seen in sports. Like and a lot of times when people do that, like for example, Stephen A. Smith. The next day on the show, he had referenced, you know what I'm saying, the Rolling Sixers. And it just sounded corny. It sounded forced. Like he was trying to be the cool guy in the room. Like he knew he was like the only person in the room that knew what it was. Yeah. So he was trying to put on. When Russ did it, it was like, oh, you know what this is. Like even if you're not a part of it, you mean it. Like it's a part of you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in your heart. Like you did that. You meant that. Like he was like 20 plus 20 plus 20. They know what that means. I'm like, all right, Russ.
Yeah. Everybody like it. It's crazy to see that the reach this man had.
Yeah,
like
it's wild.
I forgot it was from LA. Putting like when Kawhi put that stuff on his.
Oh, the Kawhi one touched me,
bro.
I was like,
you know, he's not that outspoken of a person. So if he putting stuff on his shoe,
oh my god,
like you know that had to mean something different on the blue shoe at that. It wasn't even like. It wasn't even like it was just a regular schmegular shoe, like
real crippy shoe.
Bro, Toronto ain't got no blue in their uniforms, like not in the new ones. So.
Yeah. I mean, but to see the Lakers give a tribute, to see the Clippers give a tribute to a rapper, to a gang-banging rapper, shows you, like, that cop stuff, they can have that. Yeah. Like, provided that it's real, like they're not trying to put up, like, say, just to go back to the conspiracy thing for a second, say, hypothetically, the cops killed Nipsey, it would be something they would do to put that statement out. Mm-hmm. Take that out the way for a second. It is a big deal for the Los Angeles Lakers to take a moment in a game to tribute a rapper that passed, like a gang-banging rapper. For the Clippers to take time to be like, we're paying tribute to Nipsey Hussle. Like, that's a big deal, dog.
That's big, like, that's big. I'm on social media and Jordan, the Jordan brand Instagram, they posted Russ when he threw up the neighborhood to his chest.
I didn't see it.
And I was like, they don't even realize it. they just made neighborhood Crip worldwide.
You gotta get that stock.
Right. You saw
that stock going.
They don't even realize it like something that they shunned us for in the 90s, and they shunned people for so long, in a sense, and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, like, you're pretty much glorifying neighborhood Crip. Now, either somebody, in which isn't, again, I don't want to make it seem like a negative, because you do have people like Nipsey Hussle who do come from that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But also trying to do originally what the Crips were intended.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, he reverted at least his section of it back to what the original intention was for, and that was the beautiful thing. Is like, Nip was cripping and all, and these dudes is banging, but like he took it back to like the reason it was founded in the first place, more than just thugs, but to like, we're empowering the community. Like, he almost made it socially acceptable to be like, if you was a Crip with Nipsey, it was like, you're a good guy.
It made it acceptable. Like, now neighborhood is acceptable. It gotta be. It's on the Jordan brand though. It's crazy. In black and white. Crazy. The dopest, one of the dopest. I was like, I never thought, because I remember they was throwing up the when you hit a 3, you throw up the B. Yeah. Like back in the G, and you throw it right over the I. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember
Sean Stevenson.
Yeah, I remember people, like, they would be commentators, like, commenting on it in a negative way, like, oh, we're, like, 2 years after the fact, like, oh, we're, when Mo Williams and Delonte West and Brian out there doing, oh, we're hearing this is a gang sign. And then all of a sudden, you don't see it anymore, because it became shunned in the NBA. You just didn't get it publicized. But this, bruh, I ain't gonna throw it up because I'm not from there. I'm not from anything.
Can't do it.
But I can't do it. But at the same time, that's dope. That's an impact. The fact that ESPN used his picture at a Laker game, throwing it up, bro, that's an impact. Like, you pretty much just reverted the entire image of something that's been shunned for the last 20 years. Like, shout out to Nipsey, man. Shout out to Nipsey, man. Rest in power. Just to shift gears a little bit. Ask this before we get out of here. One of the big issues that strim around Nipsey getting killed is the fact that it was in his own neighborhood. You as an artist, as a person that's experienced suburbia and experienced the hood side as well, being from Houston, coming here, being here for so many years. Right. And granted, when I say he's from Houston, like, he came here, he been an astro, like, he ain't just come here at 5, like, he came here teenage years. And so, do you think that this puts a black eye, or this magnifies the stigma that once you out, you stay out?
No.
And don't come back?
No.
So you still believe in investing in the community?
You have to.
It
doesn't work. It doesn't work if you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you don't have to live in the community, but you have to be in the community. Right. I ain't talking about showing up. I ain't talking about, pulling up from time to time. Like, you have to be there. And that's the price of being there. Like, Jesus was in his community. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was in the communities, bro. And what happened to him, not to make a Jesus Nip comparison, but at the same age,
they both did die 30
is the price. Yeah. That's the price of wearing your community on your chest. Yeah. That's the price of putting your neighborhood on your back. Like, that's the price that you have to pay sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go into this knowing what this is. Like, had you told Nipsey at 19, hey, look, man, if you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. He does the same thing. I'm sure of it. You know how I know that? Because I knew before I put Town on a sweatsuit, before I put it on a T-shirt, on the back of an Amen hat, right. Like, I knew that at some point in life, like, that is possible to me. And I was like, bet. And I ain't no Nipsey Hussle. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to know, like, if you want to make a difference in your community, you have to be your community. You have to have a pulse on your community. And you can only do that by being in the community. Yeah. I don't advocate that people get on and they stay living on their block. You can't do that. Yeah. Like, the people can't have that level of access to you. but they have to have access to you. Exactly. And it's devastating that sometimes this is the way it goes down. Like, it really is, because there's haters everywhere, but there's even more from where you're from because they didn't do it, or they feel like they're not getting their just due, or whatever it goes. But at the end of the day, like, that's the price that you pay as a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, heavy is the head that wears the crown. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And the misnomer is this is one dude. Like, this wasn't the neighborhood. You hear a lot of stories of rappers getting shot at, and they're getting shot at by 2-3 dudes out of their neighborhood. This was one dude. And so with that, and then the store had been open, 3-4 years now, with really little to no incidents that we could report of.
And doing the same stuff. This wasn't out of the norm.
This wasn't out of the norm, and that's why I say it had to be somebody that he known. Because anybody out of the norm, if you're from the hood, you're looking in every car as they drive by, because you don't know who it is, right? So it's hard for me to believe, because when you look at the footage, again, he's chilling, sitting on a car. I think it was an old caddy. He's sitting on it, chilling, while the guy's walking up. Like,
I haven't even seen the footage.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's chilling on the, like, him and the other 2 dudes that got shot are just chilling. And he's in view where he can see this dude coming up the alley. You can't tell me if he's seeing somebody he don't know, he don't get on high alert. He's from that lifestyle.
Right.
He knew this dude. And plus, if I come to your shop and I got the reputation of a rat, street code says, as you being official, really, you supposed to do something to me for even coming around. Nipsey don't do anything. He said, yo, you just go about your way and do your thing. Right? Just don't come back around here. If they start shooting at you, they're going to shoot up the store. Just don't come back around here, but I'm going to let you go get your food and stuff, but just chill. But I can't really let you hang around here. Right? And we from the same hood. We from the same set. All right, so I leave. I come double back. You're not expecting for me to come back and pop on you. Right. Because you just let me. And we should, and from the business owner, his business partner, who had just walked in the store at the time that he was shot, said that the guy, they had shook hands and everything. They were good. And so, for the people saying, was his security, stuff like that, one, he's in his own hood where nothing's ever happened to him. Two, you could tell from the way the dude was shot, he wasn't prepared for that type of action because he didn't expect it. And so I said,
you're not gonna get a shot off at Nipsey if he's expecting it at all.
Exactly.
Like, if even say the story is true, dude comes up. I'm just thinking about if it was me. Like, dude come up to the town store.
E-Class, you can find it on YouTube. Just YouTube Nipsey Hussle shooting. Look for the ones that actually zoom in. It's on TMZ, it's everywhere, but just YouTube it.
You put up on me at the town store, you know what I'm saying? And we got an issue, like big or small. Like, hey man, just you know what I'm saying? We got some stuff going on right here. We don't really need no extras. And you leave. If I feel anywhere in me that there's a problem, just so y'all know, like, there's a situation that jumped off. I don't got good vibes about it. Make sure that y'all just watching, keep on alert. You're not about to get no clear shot at me. If I felt like there's an issue, not to leave and come back, like, that's not happening. So, like, to me, he couldn't have thought there was a problem. He had to have thought everything was sweet.
And again, it wasn't the neighborhood. So, for the people that say, this is why I don't invest in my neighborhood, understand, don't change the narrative. Nipsey wasn't hated by the neighborhood. If you've seen the visual, if you, like, bro literally in Houston traded truth through some at, I forgot which part. It's thousands of people out there. Thousands. Dave East.
My cousin was there.
Dave East threw a visual. Thousands of people out in New York. And that's all the way on the other side of the coast. And even when you look in L.A., a riot did break out, but there was people there for 24 hours straight.
There's people broken, bro. Like, what do you expect to happen?
So the neighborhood wasn't the problem. It was this one individual man.
Yeah.
And so I side with Matt in this fact that the only way to change the neighborhood is to invest back in it. And for the people that is mistakenly thinking that Nipsey was just he came to the store to help another friend that was being released from jail to get him a job.
Right.
He didn't live on Crenshaw Slauson.
Right.
He came back. He probably was rarely even there to begin with. like unless like Isaiah Thomas or somebody is rolling through the store, he's involved, but he wasn't there every day on that type of time. So for people saying, well, that's an excuse not to invest in your neighborhood, it's not an excuse. This is a very unfortunate thing that happened, but black people got to help black people. Mm-hmm. The only way to fix the black community is to invest in it and give people a way off the streets, which is what he was doing. That's testimonies from people that used to be drug abusers and different things like that. And Nipsey just gave a good job, probably getting better than I'm getting paid, just sweeping the floor.
Right.
Like, that is how you reverse the curse in the community. And I'm speaking specifically to the black community because we seem to be the only ones that's struggling in this area. Asians, Mexicans, they got it figured out. They got whole shopping centers where it's just, in America, you can go to 31st and Garnett and see a whole shopping center with nothing but Hispanic writing on the walls. Mm-hmm. Like, the whole name of the store is in Hispanic writing. That's Little Mexico over there. If you come to Tulsa, Oklahoma, that's where you can go find that at. In LA, you got places like Chinatown, stuff like that. Why do they have their own sections blocked off? Because they invested in their own community. And when you got people like Nipsey, he is showing us the right way to do it. Like, I'm from New Orleans. I'm from Mid-City. Like, I would like to do something to invest back in Mid-City. How's the number one? Because I know for me as a kid, summer programs, different stuff like that is what kept me off the streets. These moms, they don't have anywhere to take their kids and have anywhere to put their kids where they can get invested to and poured into. So the kids have no choice but to run the street and do what they do and pick up bad habits. But if you follow the Nipsey Hussle example, which is what we're going to call it from now on, you're giving kids a way off of the street, and you're giving kids. So I encourage every rapper, because I'm not a rapper, I'm a guy that wants to do ministry at a very high level, and I plan on setting aside portions to invest in the communities, especially the communities I was brought up in, because like most of my friends from that community are dead, are in jail, and that's a fact. Like, I'm talking about Mid-City, New Orleans, uptown, downtown, wherever. They in jail, they're dead and they're in jail. So I'm completely with you in the fact that this should not discourage, especially those who have, to invest in people who have not. And once we get enough people on that page, we're going to see some major changes in the black community where they can't deny us. They can't deny us. So that's my thoughts on that. Any final thoughts, Brody? Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Obviously, rest in peace, Nipsey. Rest in power, Nipsey. Prayers to the whole family is very necessary. There's no distance in that. Like, prayer knows no distance. You don't have to know the man or his family for your prayers to have an impact. Stream that music, because he owned his own masters. Man. And that's not a minor thing. That's powerful. That's every cent, every dollar that comes in goes to him.
That's a good point.
And take this as an opportunity to learn and grow and not to give up on the dream. Don't give up on your goals. Don't give up on your people. Don't give up on your communities. It's not in everybody's heart to do, but if it's in your heart to do, this is not the time to stop. This is not a discouraging thing. This is an opportunity to learn and grow from what the man did and to take from what he did and to continue to push that dream, that vision, and those goals. So keep your head up for everybody that's grieving. You know, so I'm grieving with you. For everybody that's in pain, I'm in pain with you. And we're going to make sure that the marathon continues. You know, like, town is on the chest, and that's always. That's in remembrance of Nip. It's inspired by Nip. So we're going to keep it going. So make sure y'all do the same.
That's powerful. That's powerful. E-Class, you said the security guard was not with him. Yes, the security guard wasn't with him, and he actually just recently put out a quote that said he's actually retiring from security as a whole.
I feel that.
And that's tough, because that's the way he's made his living. But he said he's got London and the kids forever. I can only imagine how he's feeling being the head of security. Mm-hmm. You know, that's rough. Because if you watch interviews of Pac's main security guard, he still wears that to this day, that Pac got killed, when he had a feeling or a hunch that something was was about to happen to him. My final thoughts on it is, we got to do better. We got to do better as brothers. Like, it's biblical, because this is, we are believers. And, I mean, this is a cultural podcast, but it is from a believer standpoint. Mm-hmm. This stuff is biblical. Cain and Abel, first murder recorded on earth by brothers, right? Jacob deceived his brother Esau. Joseph was sold into slavery by 7 older brothers. He was the youngest. 7 older brothers. It's a cycle. It's been a cycle since sin has been on the earth. That and brother, the number is getting lower and lower. The population of black males in America is getting lower and lower. And while different systems and a different oppression, it contributes to it. And we have cop killings. We got unjust cop killings. We got racist we got. I mean, we still getting lynches recorded, for crying out loud. Majority of the reason that the black male in America is, the number of black males in America is dwindling, is because we're being taken out by other black males. And we just got to do better. We got to love our brothers, man. We got to hold each other up as kings. We talk the king stuff. We when we greet each other, we say king. That that's becoming more and more of a thing. But are we really living that? Do I really look at my brother as a king? Do I really look at my brother behind the camera as a king? Because if I do, I respect him. And the last thing I want to do is hurt him and take him away from his family. I cannot deal with him. Like you could beef with somebody and walk away and be fine. You see other cultures and other communities do it all the time. Like, especially especially white people. Like, they don't. We're the only ones, not necessarily the only ones, but we're having the majority of this problem, man. And we got to do better, because if we don't stand together, man, nobody's going to respect us. Mm-hmm. As long as stuff like this continues to happen in our community and happen on our watch by our people, this stuff's not going to get better for us here in America. So, for all my players out there, we got listeners in New Orleans and Virginia and Dallas, Maryland, Maine, like everybody who's listening, man. If you of the African American descent, listen, the war is on, but we have to win the war within ourselves, man. And also, love on your people. I said this on my Instagram a couple of days ago, like day after Nipsey was shot, and God just kept pressing it on my heart to let people know and encourage people to love on your people. Love on your people while you're here. Lord London, his kids, his business partner, his security guard, the people that love him the most. You can't predict stuff like that is going to happen.
Right.
Like, and it'll be almost different if he died in his sleep or died of some illness. This man was taken off the earth forcibly.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here. Like, Tulsa had 16 murders in the last 2 weeks?
Something like that.
16 homicides in the last 2 weeks? And the numbers are going more and more up. It's summertime. If you're from Houston, if you're from New Orleans, you're from Dallas, that's when the crime rate usually goes up. It's
hot.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta love on your people while they're here, man. Like, it's to hold a grudge. You don't have to fool with somebody. You don't gotta deal with somebody on a day-to-day basis to show that you love them, but love on them from time to time. It was a time that me and him didn't really see eye to eye, but it was still love there. Every time I saw him, still love there. For the you know what I'm saying? Like, love on your people. God's been challenging me on it this past month. I just been hitting my brothers out of nowhere. I hit him the other night out of nowhere, Robert, and that's not my character. It's not in my, and it's not naturally me. So I don't even want to flex like, oh, I'm just doing it because I got it. I don't.
Right.
I don't. But to know that life is short as it is, and people are getting taken off this earth left and right, man. Love on your people while you're still here, and while they're still here. Honor your people while they're still here. You don't have to deal with them on a day-to-day. You don't have to deal with their foolishness on a day-to-day, but love on them anyway. When you see them, show them love. Check in on them when you see them, show them love. So that's my charge, man. Episode 19. Anything else, MC?
Man, R.I.P. Nip, man.
R.I.P. Nip. Rest in power to Nipsey Hussle. Once again, thank you, everybody. I'm going to give you another shout. Man, y'all been doing numbers on these podcasts, man. I ain't gonna hold you. It's actually kind of emotional, man. The numbers from Dustin Crockett interview is dope. That's my sis. Make sure y'all go to the YouTube. Subscribe to Reach Over Culture. Either we're gonna be doing lives on Instagram or we're gonna be doing lives on YouTube. This feels good, dog. Like this feels like what we've been planning for. Yep. Shout out to my brother Rob behind the camera. You dig? When you see it on YouTube, it's my guy. It's my brother right here. Shout out to my brother MC. Low key, one of the creative content contributors. For Reach Over Culture, it's almost like an unpaid staff member. This man helps me, come up with it. You're gonna see him on a lot more episodes. I also got a rotation of different people that's gonna come show love. Shout out to everybody that's on that came on Instagram Live. Yep. That's love. 3 today, and we had 3 stay the whole time.
Yeah, we had a couple, man.
3, 4 stay the whole time. 1,000 next time. Shout out to everybody that's listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio.
Here.
And rest in power to Nipsey Hussle, man. We praying for you. We're going to actually say a quick prayer for him, and then we're going to play, something that jams. It's MC's favorite song from him, my favorite song from him. One of Rob's favorite songs from him is going to be Hustle Motivation. We just want to say a quick prayer for his family. Father God, we thank you for his family. We thank you for Nipsey. We thank you for the impact that he left on this earth while he was here. We thank you that his family wants for nothing. Only you can console them. Only you can, give them a hope in the future like you've already written for them. So we thank you that while this might not be an easy time, it might not be an easy couple months, a year, 2 years, or whatever loss is lost, we thank you that they will see the other side of this and that his legacy will live on forever for the better. Rest in power, Nipsey Hussle. This is Hustle Motivation. Peace out to everybody on Instagram Live. Love. Shout out to you.
It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way. Cause I took control of things. Ballin' the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. It's lost in that soldier race. You don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings.